Good morning, people of Earth. So we're here, and we're
Why just
about
Earth?
to, well, because we're talking to planet Earth today. Today we have a lot of great information, a lot of callers that are waiting, and anything that we say is definitely not meant to give you a medical diagnosis or anything to replace your medical care. Just this is just meant for your own research, and that's about it. So that's our disclaimer. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
So, couple things we're going to talk about, Karen. There's several quizzes we're going to give these guys, which is very interesting. And I'm going to also cover a couple little points. But let's just jump right in because there's a lot of questions. Missy has been waiting patiently. She's from Kansas City, Missouri, not to be mistaken with Kansas City, Kansas. Are there, Missy?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
So you had a question. You're trying to break the habit of chewing gum, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a tip on that, okay? So just don't start chewing gum. Okay? Is that good? Now, so Karen, what happens when people are addicted to chewing gum? Is there anything that they can do to break that habit?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I would suggest more B vitamins.
That's a good idea. That is a very good idea. Because especially B1, because that seems to handle any type of things that people are doing kind
Stress.
of obsessively.
I mean, I think it really depends on why you're chewing gum. Are you chewing gum full of sugar? Are you chewing sugar-less gum? What is the problem that you're noticing by chewing gum?
If you're chewing like the sugar-free gum.
Can she answer that?
No. No, we're just going to give her some tips on that.
All right.
Basically, what I'm going to recommend is any of the gums with xylitol. I mean, that's not even a problem if you actually use those. And then pretty soon, within about a minute of chewing it, the sugar will be completely gone anyway, the sugar alcohol, and then you could just chew the gum for a period of time. But that's really all I have. I'm not an expert on that topic, so but thanks for your call. We're going to go to John. John in Chicago, and I'm pressing the answer button, and somehow we're having a little issue with that. So I'm going to let Steve get that call.
I think we've got John now.
Oh, are you there, John?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you, John. You had a question.
Okay. Yeah, so I was wondering do you have a chart for your keto diet where it will tell you the number of calories, fat, protein if you're taking 3 meals a day? And then if you're taking 2 meals a day, do you have, a chart that will show how many calories, fat, protein? And then if you're doing 1 meal a day, we're revealing how many calories, fat, protein. I know you're still supposed to get 10 cups of veggies every day and 4,700 milligrams of potassium every day. But that's what I kind of looking for, because I was going from like 1 meal every 1 meal every 2 days. But I don't think I was eating enough protein, calories, and fat.
Yeah, I think this is a very good question, John. I'm going to answer it with two things. Number one, I did a video on this. You can look it up. It's actually quite in depth. The problem with telling you how many calories is that there's so many variables. You have the age, you have the speed of metabolism, you have the stress level, you have the ability to digest food and absorb nutrients, you have the quality of food. There's so many variables. I am in the middle of creating a keto calculator to help narrow things down, but we're not done with that yet. But I'm going to give you some guidelines here. The purpose of food is to give you both fuel and nutrients. So at the end of the day, if you have both of those, you're good to go. But there is a point of having enough calories, especially if you're trying to gain weight as well. But I would actually go by how you feel when you actually eat, and are you full without being stuffed. That's what I would really go by, because to count calories is a bit of a crapshoot. Now, if we want to just put a number there for an average person that, let's say, is 160 pounds, I would say if you're doing 1 meal a day, let's say you do 2,000 calories. That would be like a good goal. Let's say you're 2 meals, then you actually maybe you bring that down to like maybe 1,500 calories per meal. So that's just a real rough idea. The main thing is keep your protein moderate, like roughly between like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ounces per meal. Keep your vegetables on the high side, and then keep your carbs as low as possible. And then you can add things in there like nuts and other things that do have some carbs, maybe some berries and things like that. But like I also do some cheese, I do eggs, I do bacon, and I do my big salad. And that's kind of what I do, but I would search my video on the calorie thing because there's just so much more data that I want to talk about with variables. So I'll let you check that out.
Okay,
All right.
great. Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome.
And I just want to let you know, I'm skinny fat and high and thyroid, adrenal body type. And I've had so many problems all my life, and you answered all of them where none of the doctors could.
Wow. Thank
So
you.
so
I
much
appreciate
for all
that.
the-
Awesome. Thanks
That's
much.
great.
Yeah. Okay, so Karen,
Yeah.
where are people calling from today? Or
Well, I'm just
searching
getting,
from?
I'm just getting started on that. But so far we have Sweden, Spain, Nigeria, Portugal, Ireland, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Canada, Perth, Australia, which is where our daughter-in-law lives. So Ruby, if you're watching, hello. India, Somaliland, which is new to me, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and I'm just getting started here. So if I haven't called you out, also all over the United States, Chicago, Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey, Maryland, Wisconsin. Your
Wow.
people
My
are coming
people.
out to watch,
That's
and
awesome.
Texas. And again, we're just getting started.
Okay, good.
But I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what would you do if you were having trouble? And keep in mind that we don't address a medical diagnosis, so
Right. I have that in mind.
have that in mind. What would you do to help someone who's having trouble breathing while they're sleeping?
I hate that, you know. People should sleep and hold their breath, and this whole breathing thing while they're sleeping is just overrated.
Okay, so
I think maybe they're talking about maybe they're snoring, making sound.
okay.
Maybe that's what they're asking.
Would you have a supplement or an activity or a way of eating that might support someone who's experiencing sleep apnea?
Thank
I was
you.
trying
I
to
was-
avoid that.
Okay, so the biggest thing that they need to do is they need to do healthy keto and IF, simply because it's an insulin resistance problem. It's a pre-diabetic thing. And what happens is that when you have high sugar, it affects various nerves that go to the muscles that control the back of the throat. So many people, when they do this, start to notice like their spouse is saying, wow, he's sleeping through the night, he's breathing better. So that is a huge factor. Now I'm going to be doing a video today, Karen, on how to majorly increase your ability to carry oxygen in your body and fortify your blood. Increase the strength of your blood. I don't know if a lot of people are going to watch it, but it's going to be a very fascinating video. And
Well, I think that would help someone who's having breathing issues while they're sleeping.
especially for that, as well as exercise. So stay tuned.
And what do you think about inflammation? Is inflammation a reason that someone might snore or have breathing issues? Could that contribute at least in some way?
I think it's associated because when you have insulin problems, you always have inflammation, but it's not the inflammation directly that's doing it. It's just a side thing that you would have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that question was coming up both on Facebook and YouTube. Can you take a call, or am
Yep.
I? Okay.
Cameron, you're from California,
Yeah.
and you had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So hi, I've been doing the diet for you guys for about 4 years now, and I'm 22. And I had in this last year I gained and I walked like 3 to 5 miles a day, and I had like a 10-pound regain and 1.5 inches of my waistline that I haven't been able to like.
Mhm.
I had gotten rid of, and this last year it like came back.
Mhm.
And so I was kind of wondering, and I do like the nutritional use and like and the electrolyte powder, so and the sea kelp and the D3. So and I have an extreme amount of vegetables. So well, not extreme, but quite a lot. So it's like kind of confusing how it seems like I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
And it was working, and all of a sudden it's like
Stop
I haven't been
working.
able to get rid of it.
Okay.
So I'm wondering what I might.
What I'll recommend is just focus your attention on really two things. So, you ready for this advice? Okay, here we go. Like the most important thing that you should do when you're stuck, when you're plateaued, is adjust your carbs and bring them down lower, lower, lower. I actually did a video on, it's called Keto on Steroids, and it's bringing your carbs way, way down there. So that would be the first thing that you can do. And the second thing you can do is decrease the frequency of eating. Go longer without eating. Both of those things will drop insulin to a normal level. This will also help if you're trying to transition keto, even for the first time. See, some people are afraid to do keto because they might think it's painful, because they might end up with hunger, or I can't go long, I can't go without carbs, I'm going to detox, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. But if you don't bring your carbs down low enough, your body will never convert 100%, so you'll be sort of doing keto and you're always going to be hungry, so it's not going to work. So with keto, you have to bring your carbs down to at least 50 grams. And then what will happen, your body will start converting. Now, if you actually bring your carbs down to 20 grams or even 10 grams per day, what will happen is like you'll go into ketosis faster, and that means you're going to lose your hunger and your cravings, so it's going to be easier. Also, if you're doing keto and you're still eating 6 meals a day or snacks, even though it is keto, it's going to be hard because you're going to keep spiking insulin. And so you really got to do both of those to rip the Band-Aid, get into ketosis fast, so now you're adapted. Now your brain doesn't have to adapt. It already has the machinery to run on ketones or sugar. So what determines what your brain runs on is how many ketones are in your blood. So to help you out, you could add MCT oil, exogenous ketones, just to make you feel better. But Cameron, I would just basically do those two things. And then you can also add the exercise, you can add more sleep. One of the things that Karen and I, we went on a little trip, and we did something we never did before. There was no TV or anything, and poor internet connection. So it got dark at like 6:30, so we basically went to bed at 7 o'clock.
Exciting!
It was a great night. So I wake up at 12, like fully refreshed, ready to go. But there's nothing to do, so I'm going, let me go back to sleep. So I think we actually got 12 hours of sleep that day.
One night,
that night. 12 hours of sleep. And man, did I feel good the next day. It was incredible how amazing. I said, you know what? This is like intermittent sleeping on steroids. It's like you get intermittent, like deep sleep, where you actually get this great sleep.
Excuse me.
And I felt great for days after that. So I'm back to my normal 4 hours. So no, I'm just kidding, 6 hours. But I think that
sleeping is beneficial?
I think I'm going to actually do that at least once a week. I want to get 12 hours of sleep. I'm just going to have to figure out how to do that. So we'll do it together, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't have any problem.
We're going to bed at 7 tonight. Okay. All right. So do you have some?
Okay, so Tom on Facebook, he wants to know, he's got left shoulder pain.
Okay.
Nobody can tell him why or what's happening. Do you have any ideas?
Now, of course, I'm always thinking heart, because if it's the heart, if you took, here's a couple things you can do to rule out the heart. If you took a really good vitamin E with tocopherols and tocotrienols, that will actually really improve angina. And you'll go, wow, my left arm pain is gone, so it could be heart, in which case you need to actually do a whole program to strengthen the heart. But let's say it's not the heart. It's usually not the heart. It could be referred pain from the left side of your neck. But I've done videos on this. I would isolate exactly what muscle it's coming from, whether it's the front part of the deltoid, the middle deltoid, or the posterior deltoid, or whatever, or it's the trap, and then press on the right side. That usually should get rid of the pain. If it's referred from a nerve in your neck, then you'd have to go to someone that can help you with that. But that's what I would do if I were you.
Okie doke.
All right.
I have a lot more questions
Go
over here on
ahead.
social
Give me some
media
questions.
in case you.
Well, before you ask me a question,
Yeah.
let me just give a quick quiz.
Okay.
Okay? True or false? To make it easy on you
True.
guys. Wait.
Okay.
There are essential carbohydrates. Okay? Let's see what they say.
Now, you mean
There's
refined
such-
carbohydrates?
No, just in general. There is such a thing as an essential carbohydrate. True or false?
True or false? Okay. I think this is a trick question, but it's
You're going to find out.
my opinion.
All right. Go
Okay,
ahead.
good. So Shafi on YouTube wants to know, what's your opinion on vaping having an effect on insulin resistance or spiking insulin? Would there be any relationship from inhaling a ton of chemicals and insulin?
You know what? I did a video on this. You can watch it, but I actually don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked at that aspect. I have looked at the relationship between everything else with insulin resistance, but not that point. But if you want to know the relationship between potassium and insulin, I could talk about that. But no one asked that question.
Nobody's asked
so
that
I'm not
yet.
going to answer that.
Okay, good. So Lena on Facebook, she has a chronically itchy scalp.
Okay.
What can she do about that?
There's a couple things. I would take more vitamin D. That seems to help minimize symptoms from things like psoriasis. Also, vitamin B2 is really good for scalp type stuff. That's the B vitamins again. Now, if that doesn't work, then you better kind of work on the gallbladder and improve that. And I will have another quiz about the gallbladder when we're done here. But
Okay.
so what are the answers? I noticed there's quite a
Okay.
few people.
So I was looking at you when they started to come in. So, what happened here? So the consensus is, well, there's a
Wow.
lot of answers. You
Wow.
guys are definitely participating. There are some truths, but it looks like mostly false.
Okay.
On YouTube, some truths, a couple of truths. And then, let's see, Facebook, did you guys, okay, false, false, some truths. So it's a mixed
Okay.
bag, but more people said false.
So this is a good opportunity just to just answer it, and then I'm going to explain something.
Okay.
Okay, there is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. Now, why do I say that? Some people, if you look in textbooks, it'll say that, oh yes, we do need certain carbohydrates and glucose because the brain runs on glucose and blah, 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 right? But they never actually give you any reference of evidence to show that or prove that. Here's the fact. The fact is that your body actually can make glucose out of protein, out of ketones, out of stored fuel. This is called gluconeo, means new, genesis, the creation of. Gluconeogenesis, that's your body makes glucose. For example, there's certain tissues, like the red blood cells, that don't have mitochondria, they don't have a nucleus, they don't have DNA. So they actually need glucose. They can't run on ketones, but your body can easily make the glucose when it needs it from other things. So there is no such thing as a essential glucose or carbohydrate. Now, on the flip side of that, Karen, and I know what you're going to ask. What about fiber? Yes, that's a good point, Karen, because fiber does feed your microbes. So even though it's not essential,
He
it's
just puts
very
his hand behind
it's
one.
very beneficial to consume vegetable fibers for the microbes. So because they need to eat too. So it's not an essential, but it's a beneficial thing as far as the fiber. Now, I just answered the next question that I was going to give people, which is basically what is the only carbohydrate that will not increase insulin at all?
But wait a minute, that wasn't my question.
Oh.
I mean, someone did say fiber, so that was good that they were thinking with that.
Right.
But vegetables are carbohydrates.
That's right.
And you need those
Right.
for all of the vitamins
Right.
and the minerals.
Right.
So couldn't you call those essential carbohydrates?
No, because there's nutrients in the carbohydrate, but nutrients are not the carbohydrate.
This is the trick of the question.
So you got amino
'Cause
acids
you can't eat a
in
vegetable
protein.
without the carb portion
Right.
of the vegetable.
Eat the vegetable without the carb. So you just remove the carb, and what are you left with? I don't know.
Chew it and spit it out.
But the fiber has a 0 effect on insulin. So that's the catch-22 that a lot of people are going, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Okay.
So, all right, you good with that answer?
It was a trick question.
Well,
But everybody that said false, good job. And the fiber dude, very smart.
yeah, okay. So Linda has been waiting patiently for 50 minutes. Thank you, Linda. You're from
Listen,
Ohio.
Linda.
You had a question. Go ahead, Linda.
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Berg and Karen.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Oh, okay. I'm 73 years old. Last year I lost 70 pounds on keto.
Wow.
I basically ate one meal a day. Well, I need to lose 30 more.
Okay.
But I was eating one meal a day, sometimes one meal every other day, and very happy, not hungry at all. And then all of a sudden, my hair started falling out.
Okay.
I also had a lot of stress going on there near the end of that, losing 70 pounds. My problem is, and before I ask you that question, I want to tell you I am on Gallbladder formula. I'm on your D3, K2. I take electrolytes. I've been trying to order your trace minerals, but the site won't let me order them. I don't know what's up with that. But your tests all tell me that I'm low in bile and that I have a B12 and D vitamin deficiency. So I wanted to ask you, my problem is my hair has stopped falling out, but it's not really growing back that I can tell much. And the problem is my scalp is so very, very sore and has been ever since the hair loss, which started last October, September, August, right around then. I can hardly stand to brush my hair, and it's just not getting any better. So what do you suggest about that?
Absolutely. Thanks, Linda, for the question. I'll answer that. There's a couple things that occur when you start doing fasting that you want to really make sure that you handle, especially if you don't have necessarily a reserve of certain nutrients. You can actually then, it can show up, be magnified, especially if it's vitamins or minerals that are water soluble, not fat soluble. There's a couple things with the hair that are really, really, really important. With women, for example, that had a history of like insulin resistance or high androgens, like PCOS, they'll get the hair loss. One of the best nutrients is selenium for that. Selenium is probably the best antioxidant on the planet. It's great for any type of inflammation. It's great for autoimmune. It's good for thyroid, Hashimoto's. So it's good for PCOS and all that. So I'm not saying you might need that, but selenium is important. That's part of the trace mineral group. Now, the reason why you haven't been able to order the trace minerals is because I upgraded my trace mineral, my liquid, to a tablet into a powder, which is going to be way better, and I spiked it with certain nutrients. That's coming. It's actually just being shipped right now. So it's within probably a week of being available. So that would be very, very important, because trace minerals are probably the best thing to help with your hair growth. That being said, there's something else that I think will help you, and it's my keto essential aminos that will give you the protein as a building block without having to break it down. It's called keto essential aminos, and you're going to notice, like your nails and your hair, it's going to become stronger and stronger and stronger. So that's one thing that I would recommend. And also, as someone becomes over the age of 50, they need more stomach acid. So add more apple cider vinegar through your day with water, and I think that will help.
Did you tell her about what's happening with the trace minerals?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Vitamin E is another little thing too for hair, just as a side note. That can help you as well. But thanks, Linda. I appreciate the question.
So I just wanted to say, Janet on Facebook, apparently she called in and somehow she got cut off, but I'm really curious. I don't know if you can accept another call or if, Janet, you just want to put this question here and I'll look out for it, but she has a question, an Appalachian Trail question.
Oh.
So you got me. You got my interest now. I'm dying
if you
to know
want to
what
know
this is.
about anything with trails, places you can hiking, I'm actually the guy to.
Airbnbs.
Now, I can tell you what her question was, and we are so sorry that she dropped off. She wants to know how she can maintain keto while hiking the Appalachian Trail. What would be some sort of rational remedies? Or she could eat the trees or squirrels and so on. Anyway, if you could tell her maybe how to pack her backpack or what to get that would keep her on keto as she makes this beautiful journey.
I got it. Good. Well, I'm glad that worked out.
You just gave me another great idea for a video. You know, when you're hiking and you need fuel, I think what I would do is, of course, I would have to bring supplements because, you know, you're not going to probably get fresh things. You're not going to be able to, I don't know, have fresh salads if you're going to be
forage, unless you're really, really aware of vegetation and what you can and can't eat. But I don't think that's her point.
Some acceptable weeds on like dandelion greens and start putting them in salad.
You would want to take electrolytes for sure, depending, especially what time of year you're hiking.
Right. Nuts are good, seeds. I would bring some coconut oil, but and
you know, they have coconut oil, maybe even MCT oil now because it's just all the rage, but in these little foil single serving packets.
Yeah.
So that you can just tear one open and
you can also, one thing that I have, and I'm not being biased about our own products, but the veggie solution is virtually raw greens. People love it. It's great. There's the fiber. You just add water.
It's very filling. I find it to be very filling.
1 scoop is equivalent to 2 cups of salad. So it's that's an option.
Yeah.
It's dehydrated. Just add water. Okay. So Gigi, you've been waiting patiently, Gigi. Thanks for calling. You're from Temple City, California. You had a question. Go ahead.
Hi. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
One of the ladies who talked earlier was thank you. It was a little bit similar, but I lost 50 pounds last year, and I just did your 30-day challenge, but unfortunately, I gained 12 pounds during it because I still haven't gone back on keto since the holidays. But I am doing intermittent fasting, and I am taking supplements. I was thinking with the challenge, it might also help to have a discount from you for your great products. Thinking the more you lose, the more you discount you get or something.
And to the point where it's almost...
We need medical verification.
Oh, until it's actually, we can get it to... If you lose so much, you can actually have it free. So, go ahead.
Okay, great. That would be good. Medical verification, I do have that because I've been going to the doctor a lot, taking blood tests and everything. And I also see an OT that I get on the scale every 2 weeks, including to measure the fat content too. But I'm obviously having a hard time getting back on the horse and getting fully off sugar and back on, even though I'm doing some. And I lost a lot of hair last time, like the other lady, but I also had a rash on my leg. And in this month too, I'm celebrating my 29th anniversary and my 54th birthday. So I have some issues going on, and I'm trying to get back on. I do apple cider vinegar every day, like you just mentioned. I do your trace minerals. If they have selenium already, then I'm getting that. I sometimes do the electrolytes, but I want to get the version that doesn't have the sweetener because it's so sweet for me.
Okay.
I will try the vitamin E. That's great. You just mentioned that. And I don't know if you have any other ideas.
Absolutely. Let me tell you right now what I would recommend, okay, Gigi? I think with you, you're doing intermittent fasting. That's awesome. Okay, but you have this rash on the leg. It's less likely that you're a deficiency, and it's more likely that there's something you're eating you're reacting to. It could be some allergy or something like that, and that's always the crapshoot because you have to figure out by elimination, take out this food. It could be cheese. It could be some type of food that's an allergy. But I will say too that even the keto-friendly foods that you buy, a lot of times they're you'll be allergic to, like you'll have a reaction to them because they have some ingredient like maltodextrin or something that your body just reacts to. That happened a lot with me. well, we'll have this, try this new thing, and then I'll eat it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a headache. And I look at ingredients, and I'm like, oh wow, they added that in there? So that's what I would probably look at more than anything else. But for you, the best thing to do is to go to the grocery store when you're full, not hungry. Get all the keto stuff. Get the junk out of the trunk. Get all the junk foods out of your house so it's not available to you. So you're basically forced to only eat keto in your house, and then that way it'll put you right back on track. Thanks, Gigi.
Okay, so listen, we got Janet back. We're so excited. So in case I misquoted her, do you mind taking her call for a moment? And let's see what Janet had about the Appalachian Trail.
Janet, you had a question.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I can't believe I'm talking to you guys. Yes. There's a big interest in the long distance hiking community, not just the Appalachian Trail, in keto, in hiking keto. A lot of people are trying to do it. The lady the CEO of Next My Meals through hiked the PCT on keto, and she has a whole line of backpacking keto meals, but not everybody can do that. Or some people can do that. But anyway, so, I wanted to, I've packed a lot of fats. There are containers that you can put you can put oils in. So I have olive oil, MCT oil. I have other fats as well, good fats, and a lot of different, and you can forage on the Appalachian Trail. There are plantain plants everywhere. We just do it responsibly like the natives do. But here's my question, because I was at the summit a couple years ago, and the guy who ran the 100 miles, Zach
Bitter.
Yeah, he was, I think I remember either I heard it from him there or somewhere else that he does something called carb recycling. And I wanted to know what you thought about that. I mean, given the fact that this is, 2,193 miles, every day, hiking on tough terrain. Can you hike that with, I know you can, people have, but, I was wondering, is there anything I'm missing? Because I have all the micros, I have the macros, I dehydrated salmon and, bacon and I have all the things.
Yeah.
But I keep hearing people say, hey, throw some carbs in there. And I'm very hesitant to do that. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
Okay, so here's the thing. There's this huge push forever. It's been going on for a long time that you just need carbs, especially athletes. Now I can see like some endurance athletes and things like that, but if you're doing hiking and you feel good and you're doing keto and you don't have a problem and you're taking your nutrients, I would ride the wave, because you're not jogging this trail. You're not doing a 100-mile jog. Those guys obviously probably need some brown rice or something like that, or something like that, but the grains will tear them up. So maybe berries, something like that, but not actually glucose. But for what you're doing, if you feel good and you're getting your nutrients and you're taking your fats and you're doing hiking, you will get in a state of fat oxidation. So you're basically going to become very efficient at burning fat. That's your fuel. You're going to do that. I just wouldn't buy into the whole party line where they're going, oh yeah, everyone needs the carbs, and because those guys, it's not based on anything other than, well, everyone does it, so I guess I'm going to do it too. So
right, and I would wonder, like, if you're hiking and you're packing for what? Are you, is it like 3 meals a day, or does the community have this idea that you need to be munching on something all the time because you're hiking? I mean, it's really not different than just any other food requirement. Your body has a food requirement, and that's a food requirement. It doesn't change because your body's in motion. If you have children hiking with you, well, they may need to eat more often than you do. But, it's really interesting. I never thought of that culture of the, the hikers or the long distance hikers and their needs and stuff like that. But, or how often they eat, or what the philosophy is on that. But Right. It shouldn't be any different than
Right.
just living.
Your skeletal muscle, people think fuel like fat and glucose, but I don't know if you know this, but protein is also a fuel. Yeah, you can burn up the protein. The carbon skeletons in the protein, that can be converted to glucose very easily. And so when you're this is why, like, when you have hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, and you eat protein, you feel so much better because you're basically using that as fuel. So you say, well, protein's going to stimulate my insulin. Yes, it will to some degree, but it also stimulates glucagon, which is the opposing hormone. So, it buffers some of that effect. So some of the fuel that you're running on or can run on, Janet, would be protein, especially if you're walking or you're an athlete, whatever. That's not a bad idea to run on protein. So I just want to throw that out there, that amino acids can be used as a fuel source as well.
Yeah, and then the old, try it.
Try it and see if it works for you.
Eat keto for a couple of weeks when you're hiking, and then change up your food and throw some sandwiches in your bag and see how you feel. See what your endurance is like. See
That's right.
if you crave soon after. See if you get fatigued, and then, decide.
That's right. Karen, got a quiz here for you.
Okay.
Out of all the vegetables, which one is the absolute best for supporting the gallbladder / prevention of gallstones? Okay?
This is a very long question.
I know.
Can you repeat it?
All right, what vegetable would be the best for supporting gallbladder health and the prevention of gallstones? Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to go to Dave Stout. He's calling from Utah. You had a question, Dave. Davis, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Yes. Go ahead. What's your question?
So, I've lost 120 pounds.
Oh, you're really breaking up. Are you on a cell phone?
Okay. So Davis, why don't we'll get the question from Steve over there, and then I'll
Steve,
answer
yeah,
it.
you're really breaking up.
It had something to do with on keto, no weight loss for 9 months. So I'd like to find out, like, are you doing it correctly? Are you doing intermittent fasting? What is your carb level? How bad do you have insulin resistance?
How much fat are you eating?
Right. Are you seeing changes in your waist? There's so many people that, like, their waist is shrinking, but they're not losing weight, and they're really pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because some people have the idea the number one thing that should happen immediately is that they should lose all kinds of weight.
right.
And the body just doesn't always do that.
And some people lose weight in different places and not other places. So sometimes they lose weight in the ears or the neck, but in the wrist.
From the top down.
Yeah.
That's how I lose weight. Very skinny neck. Okay. So what about this quiz here?
Yeah, what do we got?
Vegetable. No one is answering this. Oh yeah, there's a few people here. YouTube guys are. Okay, let's see. We got celery, artichoke, zucchini, broccoli, kale. It's all over the map.
Okay.
Karen, how long do you fast? I eat 1 meal a day usually. Every once in a while, I'll not eat in a day because I'm just not hungry.
You've done some prolonged fasting before.
I have. I'm not. I don't. It's not a mission in my life to fast for a long time. I probably could, do it a couple of times a month, but I usually eat when I'm really hungry. And that's usually one time a day, and every once in a while I miss a day because I'm just not.
Why don't you tell people what you eat?
What do I eat? Well, I don't eat the way Dr. Berg eats. He eats the exact same thing.
Donuts.
Every single day, the same meal. And you do 2 or 1? Usually 2.
2.
2 meals a day. I usually eat 1 meal a day, and it often is either a protein or massive, massive salad. Yesterday I actually had a salad with some little bit of cut sausage thrown in there. But I tend to, in a day, just feel like, oh my gosh, I really need some salad. And then I'll have at least 10 cups of salad, and I don't put a lot of stuff in it. I just put maybe some nuts and seeds.
She has a salad scissors and she cuts it down.
I use my salad scissors, and it goes from here down to here, and I'll eat it.
Any dressing?
I just use oil and a little bit of vinegar. I love to put on some sesame oil on it, just because I love that flavor, and some dried onions, nuts and seeds. But and sometimes I'll eat that whole thing, and then I want another one because I really like that. But a lot of times that's all I'll have, and then maybe the next day I'll think, oh, today I really feel like I need some protein. So, you know, I'm less disciplined in terms of exactly what to eat and exactly when. I go by feel a little bit more, and then he is very, very strict with regard to exactly what and what time. I tend to eat around 3 in the afternoon if I'm going to eat.
Okay.
And that was probably really interesting, right?
Okay, so what vegetable do you think is good for the gallbladder?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Brussels sprouts.
Ah, okay. All right, Steve, what do you think? He wasn't listening.
Gosh, well, I was with Brussels sprouts. I'm becoming fond of them, so simply because I like them, I'm going to vote for that.
Okay, we got 2. Then we have kale, a lot of kale here, and then we have
let me tell people.
Lydia eats the same boring thing just like you.
All right, Lydia. Okay, so here's the vegetable. It's actually radish, and if you really want to take it to the next level, it's the Spanish black radish. Spanish black radish.
Should have known the radish.
The radish does 2 things. It actually will prevent stones and actually help increase bile. So it helps produce bile. Really good for the gallbladder. Really good for your liver. I wish I liked them.
You love radishes.
I hate radishes, but you know what? I will learn to eat them.
You know what my
because they're good for me.
My favorite dish is? Radish with a little horseradish on it, topped with blue cheese.
Yeah. I'd rather starve to death.
Yeah. Oh, come on. There's 3 things that I can't stand. Wasabi, horseradish, which I think is the same thing, right?
Right.
Radishes and blue cheese, and those are the.
So it's radishes, radishes, radishes.
And that's you.
And
You like that?
I love it.
I don't.
I could just.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so David.
But I don't think you can do that. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so we're having a little glitch. So we're going to go with calls.
Okay, good. You mean?
Oh, radish with butter, Sharon. Fascinating.
Oh, you should try that one.
Radish
Karen.
with butter. Do you cook it, or you just like raw, like dip? I like it. And Beth hates radishes. Okay, Elena loves them. See, I think if we did a survey on who loves radishes, we'd have a lot more people. It's kind of like sardines. It's you love them or you hate them.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. There was a question before I wanted to ask you. Oksana, I think she was on YouTube. She says that she has rupturing veins in her fingers.
Mm-hmm.
What could cause that, or what can she do to alleviate that or
well,
support?
the first thing I'm thinking of when I'm ruptured veins, I'm thinking vitamin C. Vitamin C. There's a lot of people that are deficient in vitamin C that don't know it. They have like a subclinical scurvy, and they get these little red. They're kind of it's called keratinosis hemangiomas, but they're in the back of the
We're all
leg
gonna
right
remember
here.
that.
They're on the back of the arm. They're on your leg. So that's a vitamin C deficiency, but also spider veins and anything with broken blood vessels, because vitamin C helps the collagen within the vascular system. So more greens, bell peppers, and sauerkraut. That's the best thing for vitamin C. If you beef up, no pun intended, with your vitamin C, not synthetic, but like a real good complex, you can help that condition. But I actually released a video on subclinical vitamin C deficiencies, and a lot of people said, I have that. I didn't know that. So, because they just never have anything green. There's people that are doing keto that just have zero vegetables, and then they end up with like bruising and things like that. So, you need the whole package.
Right. So here's a question from someone I don't know the name of on YouTube. Is there any harm to regarding muscle loss, anything like that, if you now this just went up. Hold on, I'll find it.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, someone just deleted him.
All right, so while you're looking at that, there was a question that I wanted to answer.
Okay, you must have said something, sorry.
Menopause. Okay, so I stopped losing weight when I got menopause. What's happening? What do I do? Keto's not working. The problem with menopause is that you have this spike in cortisol. And you do have this shift in hormones in the ovaries, but then you have the backup organ called the adrenal that's pumping out cortisol. And cortisol keeps you out of fat burning because it stimulates the breakdown of glucose and increases insulin, the whole thing. So there is a hormone shift. So one thing you could do, just if you have hormonal symptoms, is take progesterone cream or wild yam, something like that, which is different than the yams that you would get.
Sweet potatoes?
No.
You're recommending sweet potatoes?
No.
With butter?
No,
Sharon? Butter and radish?
So support the adrenal. There is a video I did, it's called the Stress Webinar. You should watch that, apply the technique, and I think you'll be very happy, but you need to support your adrenals. And I think what I would do if I were you is I would sleep for 12 hours once a week like I'm going to do, and really catch up on the sleep, which will help your recovery. And I think that's really good for the adrenals. It's almost impossible to recover the adrenals if you're only getting a little sleep. Sleep is the thing. But the problem is when you have adrenal issue, it won't let you sleep. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So you're going to have to
you have a lot of
stay
supplements.
in bed.
Supplements to help with that, and you also have a massage tool and techniques to help with that. And
that's right, Karen.
There's a lot on that drberg.com site.
That's a correct answer, Karen.
Oh, I did get a question about what's going on with the summit. I know you can't buy a ticket yet because the whole promotional line, I mean, literally we just did the contract with the hotel. So it is happening. It's August 28th through 28th, 29th, and 30th. So Friday, which I guess is the 28th, I hope, but you can look at the calendar, is going to be pre-registration, and then early Saturday morning it starts through Saturday. In August of this year.
Maryland.
At the Gaylord, but you can't even get a hotel. Don't get a hotel room just yet, because when we do have the site up with all the links, you'll be able to get the group rate. And but what you should do is it is right before school starts in many cases. I know some of these schools start in the middle of August, which is, you should just forget about that anyway. Just wait. Bring your family, enjoy DC. It's a great time of year. There's so much to do. Make it a long extended vacation for your family, or just for yourself. We have encouraged that every year. People do it. They stay for 4 or 5 days and have a blast.
We have the speakers all lined up. I'm really excited to reveal that very shortly. It's almost done with the promotional page, so you'll be able to see that probably within a week. We'll have everything ready, but it's going to be the most amazing summit. I'm also going to be at the Low Carb Denver Summit. I'm going to speak there in March. I think March 12th, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be speaking the last day. So if you wanted to come to that, I would love to meet you in person. But I think you should come to both summits, because you're just going to learn amazing data. The one in Denver is going to be a lot of medical professionals going to speak on a lot of things, but they're going to keep it simple. Our summit's going to be a little bit more practical as far as we're going to try to break it down even further. So it's really good for new people that are just starting, as well as just to hook up with the community.
Right.
That's a very strong community. These guys are gung Ho. And they're just great people, and it's just finally nice to meet you guys in person. I mean, we can't see you, but we can talk to you. But it's really kind of a cool thing. I'm going to be doing a video today, Karen, on natural remedies for panic attacks. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And the first thing, and I'm just going to tell you what to avoid, is just stop watching the news, and then that will help you right there. That's my first tip. There's a lot more, but.
Did you have another quiz?
You know what, Karen? I don't have another quiz, but we sure have a lot of callers. So, but if I'm going to let you ask me a question.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, let me pull one up here. Sometimes it's just a lot of comments. I was listening to you, so I wasn't looking here. Do you have another quiz?
No, but there was a guy who we met on the plane coming home from our short vacation that wanted to call in. Hopefully he calls in. He wanted to ask me some things, but I don't know if he's... and here's the challenge, that we have so many callers that are calling in that we can't really get to everyone. So the best thing to do is call early and wait a little bit, and then you'll actually be able to ask your question. But if you can ask, you know, we do, or I do, I look at the questions a lot. 98% of all the questions are from videos that I've done. So if you actually do a search, you'll find the video on that question. And go to drberg.com, because I have them all in order. They're easy to find under categories, and if you press blog, you'll see them.
Mm-hmm. And a few people are asking, you know, they're brand new, how do they start, what do they eat, where can they find that?
Well, that's on a need-to-know basis. And now go to the blog, and right at the top it says
drberg.com.
drberg.com. It says video 1, start here. Okay, and then guess what? I have a video number 2 and a 3.
Right.
So you can just watch them in order. And
if someone wants to learn, there's a book.
There is a book. You know,
we're rebooting here.
This is a small book, right? You can get through this in an hour. But this one is the one. Sorry, this is the one right here, updated. These two right here. You can go to the website and get them both. But the reason I have this is because I want people to get the quick information, and then that's not my arm. And then this one right here is to fill in the blank with all the details, and I go into the body types. And the way that works is that everyone's going to do the basic plan and for 2 weeks. And if everything goes good, you're going to stay in the basic plan. But let's say, for example, you're not happy with your results, then you're going to tweak it based on your body type. I did put a new quiz on drberg.com, Karen, just recently.
Okay.
And so if you go to drberg.com, you can take the quiz, and you can find out your body type as well. Have you checked that out yet?
I have not.
Well, it's completely brand new, and this version, we worked out all the bugs. It's completely bug-free, which is a really nice thing. I'm excited about that.
Good.
I'm going to... Go ahead. Did you have a question?
Okay, hold on. Sherry on YouTube. She wants to know, is there anything keto can do for fluid distension in the abdomen?
Well, if it's in the ankles, yes, but not the abdomen, no. There's two types of belly issues that may look like fluid, but they're not. The true fluid that's in your belly is a condition called ascites, and that's a major liver problem. That's very rare to have that, but that's usually, you'll see that in the guy on the Speedo, and he has this basketball belly and it sticks out and he's really skinny, right? It can happen in females as well.
Right. Usually
if you're drinking a lot of alcohol over many years. But typically the fluid is going to not necessarily be in your belly, it's going to be more bloating, there's going to be more fat around the organs. They call that visceral fat. And then you might have some superficial fat, but it's not fluid in your gut. So, but if you actually reduce your carbohydrates, you are instantly going to release a ton of fluid. It could be up to 11 pounds of fluid for some people. And that's why you lose all this weight up front, and you're like, wow, this is great. I can keep going, and then it plateaus because it's just fluid. That's because our bodies store glucose with fluid at the same time, with water. So it's like your stored glucose is like a fluid-filled sponge. And so when you go keto, you dump all that fluid. And then now you actually get rid of the sponge, and that's the best thing to do. And again, if you're making a transition, Karen, if you're transitioning off your carbs and you're going to keto, and you're a little nervous or you're scared or you might feel uncomfortable because you might experience like low blood sugar, irritable, grouchy, tired, it's not a sugar, you're not detoxifying from sugar. It's not like coming off like, caffeine or smoking. It's going to be more like a low blood sugar issue. So what you should do is do it gradually and let your body tell you when to step it up. So first thing is cut the carbs out, 3 meals a day, no snacks, okay? And then don't eat unless you're hungry. So many people are eating even when they're not hungry.
Well, several questions have come in. What to do if I'm not hungry?
Don't eat.
I suppose.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
It's very enjoyable to eat. It's something that people like doing. I don't know, for some reason it's flavorful or something.
It's
they have
fun.
to eat. They get pleasure from eating.
It's a social experience.
Right. But if you want to experience keto, well, why don't you just do this? Do 1 meal a day, work up to it, and then enjoy your 1 meal. But don't enjoy like 6 meals a day. The worst advice that anyone can give you on planet Earth is that you need a lot of frequent small meals a day. That is well, I shouldn't say it. That's what I was going to say. But that's a very, very bad advice. Very bad advice. Because that gets people into trouble. And even if you take a look at back in the 70s, we didn't have the obesity we have now. And you look at the time now, the difference is not more calories, believe it or not. It's definitely more frequent eating. I mean, you remember growing up, they didn't push these snacks all day, right? You actually sat at home and you ate with your family. Does any families really sit down and eat? It's just on the go. Take your snack. Kids, make sure you keep eating every 3 hours, Bad advice.
Okay.
All right. What do we got?
Want a question?
Yeah.
Okay. What if you're still hungry when you're on keto? You had your meal, you're still hungry.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons for that. Usually because you have insulin resistance, the cells are not pulling in that fuel enough because you have insulin resistance. So you have to increase the nutrient-dense foods with it. And the best way to do that is to have the salad first before you have the protein or the fat. So eat the big salad, get the nutrients, and then give it time for your insulin resistance to improve so you can start pulling in the nutrients and then be satisfied. And it also could be that you need more fat. But I will say that you might be full, but you're not satisfied. I did a video on that. Like you just feel stuffed, but like you need something sweet after, or you need something else, and you don't know what it is. It's basically nutrients. So it could be sea salt as well. That's another thing.
Okay. I have to laugh. Boss on YouTube, I don't know if this is very delayed or what, but he says Karen eats her salad by herself. That's actually really funny because he often eats at different times than I do, and we sit in the kitchen and one person's working and the other one, and so yes, I eat my salad by myself. And Maria, you have a question. How do you get 7 to 10 cups of vegetables if you are doing 1 meal a day? But that is what I do. And I'll tell you my tip, I've said it many times, that I get these salad scissors, Google it, get them anywhere, and I put a tremendous amount of greens in a bowl, and then I use these salad scissors and it takes it from this, down.
It's not this though.
It's like this big.
No. We're going to do a video on your...
My bowl.
No, your bowl is it's kind of like a normal bowl.
It's a normal bowl.
But it's wooden. But I'm going to take a video of you eating that salad, and we're going to post it.
Okay.
but it's going to be a hidden camera.
Anyway, so the point is, Maria, that you can do it. And if you have attention on it, gosh, I just can't eat that much or chew that much or whatever, I would say, if I was trying to solve that problem myself, to add a couple of scoops of veggie solution in some water and drink that with your meal, whatever you are eating, so you can know, oh, I got that much greens. That's what I would do. What would you do?
I would do that same thing, Karen. And on that note, guys,
we're going to say goodbye.
Yes, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. And stay tuned for a lot more videos this week. We're going to release actually another 14 next week.
Wow.
Stay tuned.
It's a busy week.
See you then.
Okay, bye.